Councils. Honorable colleagues, the second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Cap C-23, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make free, compulsory, and basic education a fundamental right of all citizens under Chapter 4, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Wednesday, 11 December, and I invite Honorable Gbajabiamila to move that the bill be read a second time. Honorable colleagues, if it pleases the House, may I please ask the Chief Whip to move this on my behalf. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Honorable Boma, I heard your voice.
For a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, Cap C-23, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make free, compulsory, and basic education a fundamental right to all citizens under Chapter 4, and for related matters, be read the second time. I so move.
Motion moved by the Chief Whip of the House that on behalf of Femi Gbajabiamila, Your Excellency, our right speaker, that the bill be moved, bill be read for second reading.
Thank you, Honorable.
And vision for sponsoring this motion, sponsoring this bill, and at the same time to thank him most sincerely for allowing me to argue this motion on his behalf, having regard to the importance of the motion. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, this bill is apt and germane, having regard to our present situation all over the country, especially against the backdrop of the fact that we have millions of children that are roaming about our streets that are out of school, especially in the northern part of the country, where there are about 10 million children that are out of school. And when you go to the southeast, there is this challenge of male education. It is the girls that go to schools while the boys engage in business. When you go to the north, millions of children are out of school. And it's one of the reasons that brought about insurgency in the northeast, lack of education. And to borrow the word of a Pakistani celebrity, Malala Yusuf, she said, with a gun, you can kill a terrorist. But with education, you are going to kill terrorism as a whole. So, against this backdrop, the importance of education cannot be overemphasized. And then the primary responsibility of governance is to provide for the welfare, peace, order, and good governance of the country, of the citizens. And education is one of the medium through which government can provide or afflict the welfare of the greatest number of the greatest people in the country. So this bill essentially seeks to bring education under Chapter 4 to make it justiciable, because as it is now, education is under the directive principles of state policy, which is not justiciable. It's not actionable in court. You cannot hold government into account or take any tier of government to court saying that you have not gotten access to at least basic pre and compulsory education. But if this bill sees the light of the day and it is brought under the Fundamental Human Rights chapter, that is Chapter 4, it is now justiciable and is actionable in court. Any citizen that, not as a result of his own omission or commission, feels that he has been deprived by an action of government from accessing pre-basic and compulsory education can go to court and enforce it as a fundamental human right. And there is need for us to do that so that education, at least the basic education, basic literacy and numeracy should be accessible to all Nigerians of school age. So that is the intent of the bill, and I urge my colleagues to support the second reading of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm obligated to say one or two things on the bill. Basically, the bill, bottom line, what it says clearly is that education is not a privilege, but a right. But not only is it now a right, or when the bill is passed into law, will it be a right? It will actually be a fundamental human right. The Constitution actually recognizes this in Chapter 3, but Chapter 3 is not justiciable. So now, if we can get this as a fundamental human right, it becomes obligatory on government to make sure that our citizens are educated at least at the basic level. This was experimented in the Southwest, as alluded to by one of the speakers years ago, and the Southwest has benefited immensely from it. This seeks to make it a national policy across board, not just a regional policy anymore, but a national policy to cut across all regions, north, east, south, and west. We believe that no child must be left behind. Even indeed, the Americans had that policy at one time. I believe it was during, was it Clinton or Obama? That no child must be left behind, and that's what we seek to do here, to obliterate completely the word illiterate from our lexicon and our vocabulary in Nigeria. There cannot be any illiterate any longer in Nigeria. Even the Christians in their scriptures, they're quick to quote that my people perish for lack of knowledge. And we need to address these issues because it's become a plague in Nigeria. Somebody mentioned about the Islam faith frowning against education. That is far from the truth. Some extremists talk about Western education. We're not talking about Western, we're talking about education, and that should not be an excuse for us to let our children die in ignorance. We believe in education being the key to unlock and unchain many minds, and key to freedom for our children. So I thank you all very much for your contributions, and I'll put the question. The question is that the bill be now read a second time. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it.
The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, Chapter C, 23 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, to make free, compulsory, and basic education a fundamental right of all citizens under Chapter 4 and for later matters. Second reading.